everyone. Welcome back to another podcast. Happy Tuesday. If you don't know what day it is, and all the days are blended together like they are for me, I looked it up. Today is Tuesday. Hope you're all doing well. We have a shorter podcast for you. This one is a little bit shorter, or it's the same. Who knows? I say this before we start, and then it turns out that they're the same length as they always are. If you are in need of anything, connection, or anything else, please do not hesitate to reach out. But with that being said, I have a story for you. I love telling stories, if you didn't know that. Once upon a time, I was younger, specifically in middle school. And so when I was in middle school, my dad was a principal in the same district that I grew up in. Like when I was in 6th grade, one of my teachers, the first time that she saw me, said 4 numbers like 8726 or something like that. And I said, what is that? And she said, well, that's your dad's extension. Yeah, that's what I got to grow up with. Everyone knew who Dad was. So he was a principal in the district, wasn't the principal of my building. He did that on purpose so that people wouldn't try to fight me. Thank goodness. Happened a couple times later in life where like, your dad suspended me. I'm like, well, what'd you do? He's like, I got in a fight. I'm like, no, you suspended yourself. But I went to go visit him at work once. And I was walking through the hallways looking for him because I felt like I did what I wanted. I probably did. And then someone called out to me like, are you Sam's kid? And I was like, yeah, I haven't met this person. Like, how did you know? And she's like, oh, I'd spot that a mile away. You walk just like him. And I do. So my brother and I walk just like my dad. We have this like athlete, I don't even know what to call it. I'm going to call it swagger. Athlete swagger that we just like walk around with. We all walk very much the same. And we were identified, I was identified by how I walked by this person. And she wasn't the only one. There was a couple other people who's like, man, you walk just like your dad. You walk like a tailor is what I was told. And so this made me ask the question, if that's how I was identified by a family member, so like, oh, this person's your dad by the way you walk, how are we as Christians identified by how we walk? But there is an answer to this, I believe. It's in John chapter 13, verses 34 and 35. Jesus is talking to his disciples. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You are also to love one another. By this, all the people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. Let me read that again. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also are to love one another. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. If we love one another the way that Jesus is telling us, then other people are able to identify us by the way that we love, or by the way, we can say by the way that we walk, the way that we uphold ourselves, because it's going to be vastly, vastly different than what other people do. And so like this type of thought is kind of neat because we can be visually identified by being a follower of Christ. Jesus is saying, if we have loved one another the way that he's loved us. And so that asks the question, like, how did Jesus love us? We have the ultimate sacrifice that he did on the cross for us. We know that one, but how else did he love people? Well, he served them. He washed the disciples' feet earlier in chapter 13. He spent time with them, 3 years with this group of people, and he cared for them. And he really did love them. He spent time and cared for them and was in community with them and was connected with them and cared about what was happening in their lives. And then amidst all of that, he was still accomplishing God's purposes and showing them who God is through the things that he was doing. Jesus loved people. He loved people so much. And it was so cool. And this idea is so cool to me because then people put a name to what they're saying, that person's different. Like, oh, that person's a Christian. Wow. They're a really good one. They really love people. They really serve people. And so what I would like to say to this is, don't be scared to be labeled a Christian. Don't be scared for that. That is a great thing. That means if you do this well, that means you love people. People feel loved around you. They feel like they are accepted. They feel like they are heard and valued around you. We are called to be a transforming community that finds deep joy in God and high value in all people. If we love like Jesus did, we will show people's values inherently through the way that we treat them. Our walk will be like, oh, that's Jesus. Jesus walks just like that. Rather than it being my dad, like, and he is a loving guy too, but rather than it being my dad, like, oh, he walks just like his dad with the shoulders and stuff, it would be like, no, they walk like Jesus because of how they serve people, how they love people, and how they sacrifice for people. And so my question is for you, for today, how can you love people the way that Jesus is calling to today? I know we're in isolation. I know it's hard to see people. I get that, but you still live with people. Are you loving them in a way where Jesus would be like, that's just like me? That's just like me in that. Are you loving your siblings that way? Are you loving your parents that way? Are you loving people, your neighbors that way, sacrificing your own possessions to help out neighbors? Are you reaching out to other people? Are you reaching out to those who would probably never set foot in a church, but now a church is online and they could very easily get in from the comfort of their home? Are you reaching people that way? Are you loving them in a way where they would like to see Christ? And that's my question to you. I hope you're all doing just fantastic. We have a whole bunch coming at you this week. I'm going to put it here. If you have any thoughts or questions or comments, do a hashtag Lakeland Youth Group. And the new challenge that I'm giving out for these YouTube videos is every single time, if one of them hits 70 viewers, 70, I will dye my hair. And I'm really serious about it. Please give me the excuse to do it because this is the best time to do it, I feel. But 70 different people, if they watch this video or any video from here on out, I will dye my hair. I will. I'll even videotape it so that we can show you the results. I hope you're all doing well. Please come plug in into different things. And if you have friends who are feeling a little bit isolated or they're just not plugged in at all, get them to come too. Hope you're all doing just great and have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you next time.